All right, welcome in. Ageless Talk Sports, Ohio State football recruiting show. We have some very exciting commits coming out of the safety spot. We also have some wide receiver news. We have the Buckeye Trivia show at the end. If you want to stay tuned for that, make sure you watch all of this coming at you right now every Friday for Ohio State football recruiting. And we're switching over to Cincinnati Reds when they win and at home, just to let you know that. And also check out in the description my podcast. You click on that, it's going to take you right to the last show from yesterday, Thursday. Every week there's a fight in the UFC. I do a 5-leg parlay, so check that out. So far, last week, 2 for 2. Week before that, 4 and 1. So not too bad. All right, let's go check out some highlights. We talk about the bio and the players, but the highlights are pretty cool, so check it out. So we're taking a look at the highlights of the safety, 5-star safety that just committed a few days ago. The Blaine Bradford commits to Ohio State, and that is exciting news, especially for Matt Guerrari. And then here he is on Twitter, 26s, let's run it up, Buckeye Nation, 6'1", 207. Obviously, he's a safety for the class of 2026. Catholic Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 5-star. He's the 23rd composite ranking overall in the 2026 class, and he's the number 1 safety coming out of Baton Rouge. So his commitment comes following Bradford's weekend's visit. So we just talked about this. We've been leading up to it. Bradford did come to Ohio State, visited Columbus, where he saw enough to convince him to go ahead and be a part of the Buckeyes. And Ryan Day, I'm sure, and the coaching staff is very excited. Bradford gives Ohio State 8 commits so far in the 2026 class. He becomes the first safety to commit. He's the second composite 5-star prospect, and we're going to be talking more about this, the wide receiver, here in a second. But Ohio State bested LSU, Bradford's hometown team. So he was going to go to LSU. He said no. Visited Ohio State, went to Columbus, loves Coach Day, loves the coaching staff, and he's going. He said, SEC? Got her, SEC. We're going to the Big Ten. Bradford picked up his Ohio State offer last summer following a standout recruitment camp last year. And then there's some 2026 commits, but we're not going to go into that. Bradford gives Buckeyes elite safety prospect capable of being a game changer early, starting in a 2026 season. Very excited. All right, so now we're going to go into another 5-star wide receiver. We're talking about him previously coming up to this as well. Chris Henry Jr. Of course, his dad played for the Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver with Carson Palmer. So the 5-star Ohio State wide receiver commit, Chris Henry Jr., shuts down recruitment. He says, go ahead, shut her down, kids. We're going to Ohio State. One day after landing a surprise commitment from 5-star safety Blaine Bradford, that was 4 days ago, the very next day, 5-star receiver Chris Henry says no. So Blaine Bradford, the safety, starts it all off. Chris Henry on Twitter officially shutting down my recruitment. I'm 100% locked in and ready to go for work. And then also, I believe Oregon, USC, Miami, they all had he had visits to all of them. Thought he was going to retrace his steps and go to Oregon or Miami. But it looks like the number 9 overall prospect in the 2026 class is coming to Ohio State. And again, Coach Day is doing extremely well. The linebacker coach going, James Laurinaitis and Brian Hartline, now the offensive coordinator. Dude, they're doing an awesome job. Brian Hartline's probably one of the best. He's going to get a coaching job here soon in the next couple of years. I don't want him to. Hopefully he stays. But this is talking about Chris Henry Jr., and he says, I'm always locked in. Always locked in. Always be ready. All right, we always get really good wide receivers. We're going to switch it up a notch here. So Ohio State offers 3 new prospects. 3 new prospects with the number 1 linebacker. Laren Johnson's room loses all 4 of his starters from the 2024 class. Then we got the new Tyler Bowen offensive line coach, needs to replace 4 starters as well. So it's going to be a tough one. KJ Spider-Man Green is one of the top prospects, an underclassman in the country, one of the top ones. Green ranks as a number 6 edge rusher, edge, all caps, and number 43 prospect overall per 24/7's sports composite rankings, as well as the number 6 player out of the talent-rich state of Georgia. Here is Twitter. I'm extremely excited and blessed to receive an offer from the Ohio State University. The GOAT himself gave me the offer, and that's how you do it. And let's see, who is the other one? Cameron Wagner. Cameron Wagner is 6'6", 280-pound lineman. I don't have the highlights for these guys that we're talking about, but just bear with me. Coming out of Illinois, Wagner ranks as the number 8 overall offensive tackle and a number 76 prospect over the 24/7 Sports Composite. Also on X, after a great conversation with Tyler Bowen, I'm thankful to receive an offer from the Ohio State University. So these are just offers, not commits, just letting you guys know. And then we have Antoine Higgins Jr. After a great, what does that mean here? This is on X, he's saying, after a great at Ohio State Athletics and conversation with James Laurinaitis, I'm blessed to receive an offer. So he's got an offer as well. He's hailing out of Cincinnati, and he is the number 1 linebacker, and I have highlights in previous shows on the shorts. Got a very big viewing on them shorts as the number 1 linebacker. Number 52 prospect nationally. So Antoine Higgins Jr., all 3 of these guys have got offers. So we're going to wait to see if they actually commit. Now we're going to switch it back over into some highlights. You guys ready for this? Another commitment here. Ohio State football recruiting 4-star 2026 safety Simeon Caldwell picks the Buckeyes, gives his pledge to Ohio State in the days after the Buckeyes also secured the safety 5-star defensive back Blaine Bradford. So they go back-to-back safeties. So our back end in the backfield, I always say backfield because I'm stupid, but as a defensive backs, safety, they got 2 5-stars. That's so crazy. So nobody going to be catching them balls over deep. I'm telling you, they better not be. 4-star, he was a 4-star and then moved up to a 5-star, announced that he committed to the Buckeyes over finalists Notre Dame, USC, and Miami on Thursday. Oh, no, he's a 4-star. My bad. I digress. So we have a 5-star and a 4-star safety coming in. Caldwell is a consensus 4-star prospect and one of the more highly regarded defensive backs in the 2026 class. He's coming out of Bowl School, Jacksonville, Florida. Product is considered the number 8 safety in the country and number 13th player coming from the state of Florida. Caldwell was rated number 7 linebacker in the country, according to the 24/7 composites. But it's expected he will play at a safety position with the Buckeyes. So I hope you guys enjoy these highlights here. Ohio State initially offered Caldwell in January, and he visited with the program several times before making this commitment. I respect that. Simeon Caldwell going multiple times to Columbus to make sure he's making the right decision. I'm sure his parents had something to say about that too. And now we're going to go into Buckeyes Trivia. Now, I never gave you guys the answer to last week's trivia question. It was Jim and Kirk Herbstreit, by the way. I can't remember the question that I asked. Oh, who was the two, father-son captains of Ohio State Buckeyes? It's the only time it's ever happened, and it's Jim and Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk Herbstreit's dad, obviously. So here's a question. Buckeye Trivia. Question of the day. Here we go. Put it in the comments if you know it. What Buckeye running back played in the early 90s? His mom worked as a flight attendant for TWA and was originally scheduled to be on a Flight 800 that crashed off the coast of New York in the late 90s. That is interesting. I did not know this. So what Buckeye running back played in the early 90s? His mom worked as a flight attendant for TWA and was originally scheduled to be on a Flight 800 that crashed off the coast of New York in the late 90s. Trivia question of the day. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure you check out the podcast every fight week. UFC, 5-leg parlays. Love you guys. God bless. Tip the waitress.